When it comes to sports anime, I believe the difference between a good and a great one is whether it makes you want to play the sport after you watch it. So when I saw Haikyuu, I initially dismissed it because I was like, volleyball? Man, that's boring for real, I'ma just stick to football. Well, I ended up watching it, and to say I fell in love would be an understatement. Me and my homie started playing volleyball thinking we were the next coming of Karasuno. Tell me I'm not the black Shoyo Hinata. Tell me! Anyways, I've done Kuroko no Basket, Blue Lock, and Inazuma 11, and now it's time I cover Haikyuu. So let's cut the yapping and get straight into the meat and potatoes. But before we can get into the meat and potatoes, I want to introduce today's video sponsor, Manta Sleep. I recently came back from a trip to Japan, and it was honestly one of the best holidays I've ever been on. But upon returning, I experienced the worst insomnia of all time. It also didn't help that I chose to binge watch 2 seasons of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. But anyways, that's besides the point. If you're anything like me and stay up late binging episodes and regret it the next day because you didn't get enough sleep, you should try out Manta's sleep mask. It's insanely comfortable, fully adjustable, and the eye cups block out all light without pressing on your eyes. The specific one that I have has a built-in sound system and allows me to play whatever I want, since I sometimes like falling asleep to random animal facts. Don't judge me. Good sleep is literally the starting point of any progress, whether that's gaming, creating, or even, just trying to get your life back together. If you want to get your sleep back on track, head over to Manta Sleep and use my code or the link in the description for 10% off. Now we can get straight into the meat and potatoes. It starts off with a young Ichigo Kurosaki watching this short guy dominating the field in a game of volleyball, which inspires him to start playing volleyball too. Man, Ichigo really be doing anything except saving the Soul Society. First Blue Lock and now Haikyu too. Next thing you know, he's gonna be stepping in the ring with Ippo. Anyways, this is our main character Shoyo Hinata, and we get to see him participate in his very first real volleyball game since starting the sport. His team barely made it as they only got 6 players, and he's the only one that really knows how to play. And on top of everything, he's short, very short, like he's barely taller than Levi Ackerman, who's shorter than Olaf from Frozen. They are set to play the #1 strongest team in the country. Hinata is getting nervous bowel movements, so runs to the toilet, but overhears these 60 overalls trash talking his team. They continue to clown him, but that's when the real boss shows up and tells them that they have been riding the bench more than Shido and Baro, and shouldn't be talking so spicy for a bunch of bench warmers. This guy's name is Tobio Kageyama, and he's known as the king of the court because he's one of the best setters in the country, but also extremely demanding of his teammates. He confronts Hinata for having no spine, but that's when Hinata says that he plans on winning the entire tournament since he refuses to give up. With the way they were talking, I thought we were gonna have a Naruto and Sasuke dynamic, but as the match begins, they genuinely start getting washed. Hinata is trying to keep his composure and keep the team morale going, but he's genuinely surrounded by bums that barely know how to play the game. Hey, he really should have called me up. We could have been out there like Shaq and Kobe, bro. I'm telling you. We get to see a short backstory of Shoyo starting his volleyball journey in middle school, and he was unable to get any members to join the men's volleyball team, so he was left practicing on his own for the most part, since his pride didn't allow him to join up with the women's team. I be telling you guys, pride is really the devil. We cut back to the game, and he finally gets a set when we see that this guy can jump extremely high. He has that Kagami jumping gene. They are still getting buddied pretty badly, and the only points they managed to score was from the other team's mistakes. Kageyama is getting upset at his teammates for not trying to go all out, whilst Hinata is out here moving like Kingsman in the $40,000 Marvel Rivals tournament. He's really surrounded by a bunch of CCs and Zazas.
Bro, listen, I was on a team with a whole bunch of LA Fitness niggas. No badges. We had a Mike. I'm sorry I gotta say your name. You are one of the worst hoopers in the whole country, bro.
FusiTube over here actually had the chutzpah to ask Hinata why he's trying so hard, to which he responds, "It's not over till it's over." It's game point to Kitagawa, and Hinata manages to score another point. Even the scorekeepers are starting to root for him. They line up again as the ball drops to the setter, who completely mishits the ball. I thought it was wraps, but Hinata flash steps across my screen, enhancing the animation budget, and spikes down the ball with maximum efficiency. I stood up out of my chair and shouted, "Hey!" I thought he got a mid-game Zenkai boost just for the referee to say it was out. Investigate this, man. This is the type of nonsense the referee was doing in the Senegal vs Morocco AFCON final. It's a disgrace. Anyways, they line up and that's officially game, but Kageyama acknowledges Shoyo Hinata and says that his vertical speed and determination to win are all insane, but he's been wasting his time by not training the fundamentals. It sounds harsh, but it's the wake-up call he needed, and I don't know what it is. The simplicity and the perfect execution of this first episode gets me every single time. I'm damn near tearing up just recording this video. Hinata confronts Kageyama after the game and makes a proclamation that he's going to surpass him one day, as it cuts over to a montage of him joining the women's team and training non-stop to improve himself before entering high school. Sensational. He ends up graduating and chooses Karasuno High School because it's the same high school the tiny giant went to. When he pulls up to the court just to see his #1 up, turns out he actually applied to the best school but got rejected. Damn. Their upperclassmen come to meet up with Kageyama since he was a big deal in middle school. This would be like the equivalent to having a Generation of Miracles member join your team. Hinata and Kageyama are still at each other's necks though, so Hinata challenges him to a game. All he has to do is receive one of his serves, but this man Kageyama is lobbing straight nukes. This is the missiles Razor was hitting in Greed Island. Hinata almost manages to control the second one, but it gets deflected and hits the principal, exposing his fugazi haircut. You gotta let that go, bro. Even Turkey can't fix this. Luckily, the captain managed to calm down the principal, and he tells the first years that up until a few years ago, they used to be one of the best, but recently they've dropped all the way to 8th in their prefecture. People are starting to call them the wingless crows. He makes a statement and says that he wants to make it to nationals before banning both of them from participating in practice until they put aside their differences. Kageyama comes up with the idea to challenge the upperclassmen to a 2v2, and if they win, they'll be allowed to practice again. Daichi agrees and says that they'll be playing a 3-on-3 game. Tanaka will be joining their team and they'll play against the other two first years. If they do lose, Kageyama will not be allowed to be the setter for this team as long as he's still captain there. Daichi is being hard on them because he sees a lot of potential in both of them. Kageyama wants a spiker who can hit his crazy fast spikes, and Hinata possibly has the athletic ability to match him. Despite how much he tries the nonchalant maxing Sasuke gimmick, it's clear that he really loves volleyball and being a setter. So they start a mini training arc to work on polishing up their skills and helping Hinata improve on his receiving. But their chemistry still hasn't really improved. This is worse than having Kevin De Bruyne and Thibaut Courtois on the same team. If you know, you know. Whilst they are upgrading their skill tree, the other first years pull up on them talking smack. This is Tsukishima and Tadashi, and this man Suki is in the wrong sport. The Golden State Warriors need all the help they can get. Tsukishima is 6'2" and a professional rage baiter. He keeps telling Kageyama that he's basically a celestial dragon since he doesn't like his nickname, the King of the Court. Some time passes and their chemistry goes from red to green, and it really seems like Hinata's receiving is drastically improved. It's finally time for the 3v3, and Tanaka is cooking out the gate, going up 3-1. Tanaka is too funny, bro. Everyone has that one homie who forgets how to act in front of the females. Kageyama sets the ball to Hinata, and everyone is once again perplexed by his vertical, out here moving like Muggsy Bogues. It ends up getting blocked by Suki, and bro is trash talking like Prime Yusuke Urameshi. Calm down, Jamal. It's just a friendly.
Your life literally is as valuable as a summer ant. I'm just gonna stomp you, you're gonna keep coming back.
I might have to put bro in the Hall of Fame of trash talkers. Team Tsukishima pulls it back to make it 4-6, and Daichi has the defense on lock, even returning one of Kageyama's serves. That's when we found out from Suki why everyone calls Kageyama the King of the Court. Long story short, they are basically saying he's a control freak that tries to make everyone play to his tempo. Don't get me wrong, but I see where Kageyama was coming from. Imagine being on a team with Kobe or Michael Jordan. In comparison, this is probably light work. Kageyama comes clean and says that he's afraid of playing to his fullest after his team abandoned him in middle school. So when the game resumes, he spots Hinata making the perfect jump, and they almost have a chemical reaction. Apparently this attack is called a quick set, and it's a super advanced volleyball technique. They try to do it again but can't seem to grasp it. That's when Suge explains that Kageyama should try to adapt to Hinata instead of the other way around. The score is 11-16, and they try another quick attack, and this time is straight green as Hinata smacks the ball down. Tsukishima says that it's not even that impressive when Daichi says that Hinata had his eyes closed when he made that jump. Yes, that means that this Yuno level prodigy perfectly passed the ball into his trajectory without Hinata even having to see it. Had that boy Tsukishima flabbergasted. They tried to run the same play again, but once again left the flow state. After some adjustments, Hinata runs the nastiest line, juking the defense, and lines up another one of those quick attack spikes. They seem to have actually started mastering their team up ability. They are out here improving mid-match the same way Saiyans were improving during the Tournament of Power. They managed to take the first set and take that same momentum into the second set. Tsukishima's team has really good defense, but they are pretty weak offensively. This Tadashi guy is kinda buns too. He might have worse base stats than Hinata. Anyways, they do end up winning, meaning that they are officially on the team and allowed to practice again. And these jackets are so cold, bro. I need one of those for real. Like they would be like the perfect gym wear. The club's advisor says he managed to get a friendly game against a team called Alba Josai, who's apparently top 4 in the region. However, they must play Kageyama the entire game. Damn, I feel bad bad for Suga, bro's been hella nice. Apparently it's because a lot of Kageyama's ex-teammates went to Aoba Josai. Anyways, they go over the positions for the game, and it's the perfect time to get us Nomis tapped in with the actual roles of each player. The setter is considered the control tower, who decides where the ball goes, kinda like a CDM. The wing spiker is the player who maintains the balance between offense and defense, kinda like a box-to-box midfielder. The middle blockers are the main defenders, but can also be used to score points using quick attacks. And then the libero is someone who cannot serve, block, or rotate to the front row, and his entire purpose is to focus on defense. I know I completely butchered these explanations, so I'll let the real volleyball enthusiasts correct me in the comments. They decide to have Hinata at the front to use him as the main decoy and weave in quick attacks using his athleticism. Honestly, a solid plan. Hinata is extremely nervous since it will be his first real game since middle school. Fast forward a couple of days and they pull up to Aoba Josai to have their friendly. They start the game, and this man Hinata is more nervous than Mob when he has to do anything. He's out here flopping and messing up every single play, eventually selling the whole quarter by messing up the serve and hitting Kageyama in the back of the head. He had Hinata so terrified he was sweating upwards like Gaara when he ran into Saitama. He just tells him to lock in, and Tanaka gives him some words of encouragement, which snaps him right back into place. They start the second round, and Kageyama messes up the first serve and actually apologizes, which had his old teammates completely flabbergasted since they've been backbatting him the entire time he's been there. They set up for the second serve and green time the quick attack, leaving the other team second guessing who will hit the serve. The score is 18-17 when Tsukishima gets a point to make it 18-18. And I don't know how to explain it, but the little arguments they have in between points is actually hilarious. Like, after putting in the work, they managed to win the set, making it 1-1. Everyone is excited since it seems like they are actually going to win the game, as Kageyama says not to let their guard down because he doesn't think their setter is a starter. That's when Sosuke Aizen himself pulls up and had all the girls screaming at the top of their lungs. This is how people were reacting to Prime Duke Dennis.
Davis? No!
Anyways, this guy's name is Oikawa, and he is Aoba Josai's team captain and main setter. He was Kageyama's upperclassman, and he taught Kageyama how to be a setter, so you already know he's gonna be cold. They start the next set, and it's 14-15, but Oikawa hasn't been brought on yet. This reminds me of when Serin went to play against Kisei's team, and then the coach refused to play him. They run the score all the way up to 20-24, and it seems like Karasuno is about to take the W when Oikawa subs in. And to be honest, I wasn't really sure. Volleyball isn't really like football, where you can go drop back one depth and start playing Prime Arteta and Yahoo Harambo, so I don't know how much he can cook. He grabs the ball, tossing it in the air, forcing an animation switch like it's 2B Hero X, and damn near speed blitzing Tsukishima for the first point, bringing it back to 22-24. Damn, he's basically like the upgraded version of Kageyama. He runs the same play again, bringing it to 23-24. I really thought they were gonna pull off a remontada. It seems like having a good serve can basically allow a team to farm a bunch of points. He tries going for the tie, but Suki locks in, returning it. They go for a quick attack with Vegeta's cousin, but Hinata manages to keep up and instantly lands a counter attack, blasting past Oikawa to win the game. Even though they managed to win, it's clear that they probably would have lost if they played Oikawa from the start. He was only on the court for like 2 minutes and instantly exploited their poor receives. Daichi understands it too when he explains that they have a player returning to help them on defense, Karasuno's guardian. They return to school so they can focus on training. Kageyama is doing some accuracy work when this short guy spawns in and perfectly receives the ball, directing it to the setter's position. The only thing Hinata is worried about though is the fact that he's shorter than him. Anyways, this is Nishinoya, the guardian of Karasuno and an extremely talented libero. Since he doesn't have to concern himself with blocking or spiking, height isn't really that important of a factor. He kinda reminds me of like a cross mix between Bachiri and Sanji. Nishinoya asks where a person named Asahi is at when the rest of the team tells him he hasn't returned. He calls him a coward and says that he won't return if Asahi doesn't return. Hinata sweet talks Nishinoya into teaching him how to receive the ball better, and we get some nice character interaction between them, and I'm really starting to like him. The club advisor is trying to convince the convenience store owner to become Karasuno Volleyball's team coach, because apparently his grandpa was some sort of legendary coach. He's been refusing Takada for weeks now, and this really reminds me of when Raymond was trying to convince Coach Hillman to join them. Sugo pulls up on this Asahi guy to try and convince him to join the team back, but he ain't trying to hear it. He was the ace of the team, but one game every single one of his spikes was blocked, and he just hasn't mentally recovered from that, which I guess. I thought he suffered some type of career-ending injury like Shigiri. Asahi really don't got that Mambe in him, bro. He's a certified gentle giant. They have a training camp coming up and Takada managed to secure a friendly match against Nekoma at the end of it. Apparently they used to be rivals when the old coach was still around. Hinata and Kageyama try to convince Asahi to join the team again, and I can see that his guard is beginning to drop. He just has some confidence issues, you know? He just needs to like rebuild himself. Takada goes to the convenience store owner one more time and tells him that they are playing against Nekoma, which actually seems to have gotten him interested in coaching the team again, since he was part of their rivalry a few years ago. He thoughts and says says that he will coach them. His name is Yukai, and he got together the neighborhood volleyball team for a quick practice match so he can gauge the team's strengths. And just as they were about to start, Asahi pulls up. On the main team, we got Suki, Daichi, Hinata, Tanaka, and who is this? I ain't never seen Bro in my entire life. They just spawned him in like that one guy from Stranger Things season 5. Anyway, Suga, Asahi, and Nishinoya are on the other team. It's a pretty even game when we get a flashback to the moment that made Asahi quit volleyball. Nishinoya got upset at him for blaming himself and cowering away at the end, which caused a fight. Asahi should really take some notes from Dion Waiters. It's better to go 0-30 than 0-9, because if you go 0-9, that means you lost confidence. After seeing Hinata and Kageyama, his eyes opened up and proclaims that he wants to play volleyball the same way Robin complains she wanted to live. Hinata serves the ball. They barely manage to keep it in when Asahi goes for the spike, barely getting blocked. Bro's power is insane. He sent Kageyama flying backwards. I thought it was gonna be their point, but Nishinoya gets the rebound, keeping the player active. Asahi screams Suga's name, asking for the ball. He sets it up as Asahi rises to the occasion, breaking free a 3-man block with sheer power. Immaculate. The coach is getting excited since the team is really starting to come together. They got multiple attack outlets and an insane libero who could save the Titanic from sinking. They continue the game, and it's clear that Hinata is starting to feel jealous of Asahi for not being able to dominate the field in the same way as he does. Kageyama gives him some words of encouragement before telling the other team that he's going to be passing the ball to Hinata, which means that his element of surprise will be useless. They set up and Hinata is being triple marked. Kageyama tells him to move, so he runs to the other side of the court before dropping his shoulder like prime Cristiano Ronaldo and scoring the point with Kageyama's perfect set. Sensational. They are a certified dynamic duo, just like Kagami and Kuroko. Don't get me wrong, I understand both Kageyama and Hinata's perspectives. Hinata can only do those crazy attacks because Kageyama is setting the ball to him. He would be practically useless on his own, so he doesn't want to rely on him forever, which makes sense, especially if his goal is to eventually go pro one day. He won't be in high school forever, you know. The game resumes and Unk over here scores 4 insane points with some type of knockable serve when Asahi ends the game with a heavy down air. The coach still agrees that the team needs to really improve their receiving since it's an overall weak point. If Unk can score 4 points on them in a row, someone like Oikawa could probably score like 10 points in a row on his own. They start their training camp and there's just something nostalgic about seeing these two gooners worrying about Kyoko. Anyways, whilst doing some road work, Hinata overdoes it and gets lost, running into Shinji from Bleach. He tells him he's lost, so Hinata tries to help him after realizing they both play volleyball. His name is Kenma, and this is what an interaction looks like between an extrovert and an introvert. I'm getting overstimulated just listening to them speak to each other. Turns out he's Nekoma's setter and also one of their best players. After some back and forth, and Suga explaining how he's happy to ride the bench as long as his team wins, Coach Yukai decides to make this the starting lineup with Kageyama as the main setter. They meet their opponent and Hinata is genuinely flabbergasted seeing the guy he met earlier. Whole time this guy is straight stone-faced. Honestly, I kinda like these kinds of rivalries where there isn't just pure animosity and hatred. They are pretty chill and friendly off the court, but I know it's gonna get serious the moment the whistle blows. Cats versus crows. Let the squabble commence. Kageyama and Hinata score the first point with a quick attack. They try to anticipate him, but Hinata's decoy runs allow Asahi to score the second point of the game. Karasuno seems to be dominating the early game, but this Kenma guy hasn't taken his eye off them yet. Their coach calls a timeout and decides to focus their attention to stopping Hinata. The score is 11-14, and Nekoma has gone for a zonal defense to stop Hinata from moving freely. They manage to stop the quick attack and score a point of their own with a setter dump. This is the first time I realized this was actually allowed. I was spamming this anytime I played with my friends. It's such a broken concept. Kageyama tells Hinata that they are reading him like a book, so he calls for the ball on the next play and spikes it down the lane to score a point himself. This man is a demon. I wouldn't be surprised if he can actually play every position on the court. Kageyama and Hinata are like Yudo and Asta from Black Clover. Hard work versus pure talent. Kenma has insane perception skills and can analyze and read people almost perfectly, allowing him to hit J Boolean level hezzies on Tsukishima. We see a bit of his backstory, and he was your average quiet introverted kid, but he had a friend named Kuro who was extremely extroverted and convinced him to play volleyball with him. Nekoma's team is like a well-oiled machine with perfect chemistry and great overall all-round picks, whereas Karasuno has a bunch of dormant potential with missing gaps in their fundamentals. Hinata asks for the ball on game point, but ends up getting blocked, causing them to lose the first set. They start the next set and Hinata has been getting clamped beyond belief. You'd think number 7 was Pram Giannis the way he's blocked almost every single one of his attacks. Any normal person would be discouraged, but this is the Orange Mamba. He's smiling ear to ear at the opportunity to overcome a great obstacle. This is what I love about shonen anime in general. The relentless pursuit of greatness regardless of how many obstacles stand in your way. Life is never going to go the way you want it to. Something is always going to block your path, but that doesn't mean you just fall over and quit. The true joy lies in overcoming said obstacle and pushing beyond a limit previously previously thought to be unattainable. That is what it means to be a human. Never give up and continue to adapt until you find a winning formula. Hey, you guys wanted some more home course, so I'ma keep them coming. I recently watched Multi Supreme and I love the overarching message that movie displayed. It's 5-7 and Kageyama passes the ball to Hinata, who switches it up and opens his eyes to try and accurately place the ball, but in the process he ends up missing it completely. It seems like he's on the cusp of trying to figure something out when he changes the trajectory of his hand, slicing the ball across the court with the ball barely going out. I don't want to keep making football references, so I'll switch it up. If you've ever played the start of Elden Ring, there's a tutorial boss called the Tree Sentinel. I refused to run past him and just ignore him, as I continuously fought him with nothing but the base gear until I slowly started to learn his attack patterns and managed to defeat him all on my own. Hinata is literally going through the exact same scenario right now. Hinata and number 7 are having an amazing rivalry, slowly pushing each other further and further. The captain moves to the front, so Kageyama decides to return to the eyes closed quick attack to catch him off guard. Nekoma is slowly pulling away by showing how deep their bag work is by completely mixing up their attack to keep the blockers guessing. This mental side of volleyball is crazy. The tiniest mistake and the other team gets a free point. Your brain has to be active 24/7 whilst on the court. It's a tied game at 23-24. Kageyama passes the ball to Asahi, who gets it returned for a direct spike that gets returned too. Hinata is locked all the way in and I really thought he had it, but they still managed to keep up. I thought after it bounced off the net, they for sure would have claimed the point, but Kenme keeps it up, dropping it deep for game. What a match. Nekoma's coach says at the end of the day, all that matters is not letting the ball touch the floor. And he's right. Whichever team is hungrier wins the game. I don't know why, but this genuinely might be in my top 5 anime rivalries. I really enjoyed this match despite there not being like any real stakes. Like, look at this interaction between Kenme and Kageyama. Whenever they are not playing volleyball, this show really turns into a comedy on par with Psyche K.
I can never forget a guy whose head looks like an onion. Hey, what are you first doing? Do I need to get you a leash? If this keeps... Or not. What are you guys, a couple of weirdos? Weirdos? Are we? I don't know. Thanks for being nice. It's freaking me out. Yeah, it doesn't suit him, does it? Oh, I'm sorry. What do you mean if that works better? Cut that out! Whoops, overslept. I'm so late. The boss is gonna murder me.
That next game is for the Inter-High Preliminaries. We see the other team they are playing and they think it's gonna be easy picking since their school has a bad reputation. They do have a lot of strong people in their prefecture, including Ushikawa, who's basically like a Generation of Miracles level, Alba Josai, who have that aura farmer, and then Daytech, who's the same team who blocked every single one of Asahi's spikes. They get the brackets, and both Daytech and Alba Josai are in their brackets, which means they'll have to beat them to make it through. They continue their little training montage when Kyoko says she's been working on a banner for the team, as well as some words of encouragement. Laugh all you want, but every man yearns for a beautiful woman to support them in their endeavors. I'm right there with you guys. Off topic though, but the Asahi old man propaganda is genuinely hilarious. They are saying he was in the same graduating class as MLK.
Damn, that's a grown-ass man. I hear he's been held back 5 times. It's gotta be at least 30. That's crazy.
Anyways, it's game day and they get ready to play their first match. Oikawa and Abajosa also pulled up to scout out the comp. Let the squabble commence. Everyone is clowning Karasuno for having a 5'4" middle blocker, but they pick up the first 2 points with strong spikes. They are starting to put some respect on their names when they pull out their secret weapon, silencing the entire stadium. Yeah, keep that same energy now. Karasuno is putting straight belted cheeks, gapping them 12-25 for the first set. They start the second round and Kageyama gets 5 points of serves alone. I swear if you're good enough at serves, you can win the entire game on your own. The other team refuses to give up and it's honestly inspiring to see. Just having people around you that go all out is enough to motivate others. It goes to match point as Daichi smacks down the ball for the win. Seeing the side-by-side plot development between the women's team and Daichi's old high school friend is honestly 10 out of 10. And it's the realism other shows seem to lack. The what ifs and the frustrating feeling of pure regret as you take a loss is something captivated so well in Haikyuu. When was the last time you gave your all in pursuit of something but fell short? I would love to hear about it in the comments. On the other side of things, our GOATs managed to make it through as they go on to face Daytech in the next game. They have an insane defense led by Polnareff himself. Let the squabble commence. Daytech starts with a serve which gets returned to Kageyama as him and Hinata go for a quick attack. I thought it was green, but this guy uses his Sharingan and still manages to catch up. It's because they use read blocking and don't move until the opposition has made their move. It's like how Kawhi Leonard defends. Karasuno is barely in the lead due to some officiating calls, but Datek has been shutting them down pretty hard defensively. These Datek guys are moving like the Great Wall of Ba Sing Se, so Kageyama and Hinata decide to pop their ult too. They leave them completely flabbergasted, speed blitzing their defense. They are going back and forth, barely keeping the lead until Hinata rotates back onto the court. Unstoppable force versus a movable object. Hinata and Kageyama hitting off one of their ultra quick attacks, and the coach was so perplexed he had to call for a timeout. They decide to man mark Hinata, so much so to the point that all attention is drawn to him. He's really the center of attention, picking up points by keeping the opponent second guessing. Datek is still able to get some blocks in here and there, since Rhino has insane skills as a blocker. They need to score the next point to kill Datek's momentum. Everyone is making an attacking run, but we gotta remember that Hinata has always been a decoy for our own gentle giant. Asahi sees beyond the wall and smacks the ball down to create a 4-point gap. Karasuno has made it to match point as Asahi smacks it down again to take the first set. They start the second set and it's once again an extremely close back and forth game. They run it all the way up to 10-12 as Asahi wants to take control of the game by breaking through the iron wall. They continue to climb, inching closer and closer to game point. Asahi and Hinata are leading the attack with Nishinoya and Tsukishima holding down the defense. My butt cheeks were genuinely clenched. 21-24 for match point for Karasuno. Never mind, made that 22-24. Hinata really needs to improve the rest of his kit, bruh. They start the next rally and all attacks are going through Asahi, but they are low-key shutting him down. Nishinoya is keeping the ball up, carrying his team on his back. The ball ends up in the middle for some sort of beam struggle. This really comes down to who's the superior button masher. Datek pushes it back, and I already accepted that they stole another point back, just for this 5'2" demon to flick it up like Prime Neymar Jr. Real life Joga Bonito. Open shot. Fate of the universe on the line where the Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth. You better hit it. I want Nishinoya. It's actually crazy how much this guy saved the team in the early seasons of the show. Kageyama sets up the ball for Asahi one last time. He hits it with all he's got as the ball rolls over the net, dropping into the opponent's half. They did it. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. They beat Datek 2-0 after getting smoked just 3 months ago. Josai also clean sweeps their win, so the squad goes home and prepares for the next day. Oikawa might put on this nonchalant pretty boy act, but in reality he's locked in 24/7, even going as far as to study tape on Karasuno. Fast forward to the next day and Karasuno and Seijo line up for their first rematch, with this time Oikawa playing the full game. Karasuno gets first serve, Josai returns it straight to Oikawa, who instantly goes for a down slam as the first play. Bro's an elite level rage baiter. They go for another attack, and this man Oikawa made it seem like he was going for another dunk, just for him to change his mind last minute and set the ball. This is pure mind games. Nishinoya receives the serve, flicking it to Kageyama, who has Hinata, Tanaka, and Asahi to choose from, but instead returns the favor and goes for a setter dump. Oikawa and Kageyama are really going rage bait for rage bait. Kageyama is up the set and he totally flunks it. Oikawa takes the serve and sends it directly to Nishinoya to test whether his chain was real, as he easily controls it, allowing the counter with a quick attack. It's 4-3 and it seems like Oikawa has figured something out because he calls for a timeout. Bro's game sense is insane because he cracked their secret code. Whenever Hinata says bring it here, they do their special quick attack, and when Hinata says give it here, they do a regular quick attack. The guy with the cooked hairline picks up 2 quick service aces by targeting the blind spot created by the setter moving into position. I said it before, but volleyball got borderline chess level tactics to it. This sport is actually goated. Oikawa is using mental warfare on Kageyama, slowly draining his confidence by capitalizing on the tiniest mistakes. He grabs another pick with the serve and is trying to silence Tanaka since he's keeping the team's morale high. They call a timeout to calm down his nerves as Tanaka locks all the way in. It's still Oikawa's serve and he once again goes for Tanaka, but this time Karasuno keeps it up, countering and stealing the point back. My bald goat ain't gonna crack under pressure. He's really top 3 skinheads in fiction. It's 15-8, but Karasuno is unable to close the gap. Kageyama is clearly stressing out. Oikawa has read him like a book. Kageyama is a true egoist, whereas Oikawa has that Akashi package which allows him to bring the best out of his teammates. That final beam struggle was the nail in the coffin when the coach decides to sub out Kageyama and bring in Suga to calm down the pace of the game. Damn. I'm conflicted because I really like Suga as a character, so I'm happy he's getting the chance to play. The game resumes and Suga has already managed to trick Oikawa with a good old switcheroo. His ball IQ might be on par with Oikawa's. He's changed up the entire flow of the game, but Oikawa is back up to serve and gets 2 picks, making it game point for Josai. Suga has figured out the timing on their quick quick attacks, which has allowed them to block more frequently, but the Bulls still went out, giving their first set to Aoba Josai. They start the second set and it's Oikawa's serve. This time though, they switch up the formation to let their best two defenders focus on collecting the ball. They keep it in play before Suga passes it to Tanaka, who manages to claim the point. Right now I feel like that couple during the Bullock match, who got more and more engaged as the game went on. It's 14-15 and Asahi managed to pick up another point using Suga's set to break through Aoba Josai's momentum. It seems like they figured Suga's sets out, so the coach decides to bring the wonder kid back into their game. It's Kageyama's turn to serve and he gets a service ace. He serves again, but Seijo manages to return it just for Kageyama and Hinata to do their quick attack using their new signals. It's 20-19, but Tsukishima has moved into the front line. Their chemistry is still not the greatest though, which significantly decreases their attack power when it's them two in the rotation. Kageyama decides to be the bigger person and puts his differences aside to talk it out. W character development. The first play goes straight to them and Tsukishima chips it over the defense. It's kinda like a Panenka. He does it 2 more times, but they read both of them, so on the third one he switches it up and catches them all off guard. Hey, he ain't even that bad. It's set point for Karasuno, but Oikawa is the one serving. Before he takes it though, we find out a little bit of his background lore. Seems like his main rival is Shiratorizawa's Ushikawa, and he's never been able to beat him even once. He continued to train when a young Kageyama joined the team and eventually overtook his skills. Look at this little cutie patootie, bro. Oikawa is more so a talented learner who isn't some sort of genius prodigy unlike Ushikawa and Kageyama, so he felt an innate jealousy towards them for having more natural talent. One day Kageyama asked Oikawa to teach him how to serve, and bro felt so enraged that he actually went to backhand him. Luckily the captain stepped in and calls him out, telling him that volleyball is a 6-on-6 sport, which means that if you can't beat someone alone, you can always beat them together. W power of friendship. We cut back to the game and Oikawa goes for a deep serve, but Nishinoya returns it to sender. They bump it to Oikawa, who seemingly goes for a middle set, but Kageyama has seen through him, anticipating the pump fake and winning the match point. Sensational. They really took a set from Aoba Josai. Whenever the story gets like this, I can't help but feel like Kageyama is the real main character, and Hinata is just like a side piece to the story. The final set begins and it's still a close game. They are going back and forth until Oikawa gets the spike, which allows him to return to his serves. They started to deal with it a lot better, but Oikawa is using his entire bag to make sure they keep the lead. Hinata makes it back onto the court and they begin applying heavy pressure onto Oikawa. They bring it back to 15-15, but as they return from the timeout, Seijo has decided to not mark Hinata and let him hit the ball freely, since the speed of the attack causes the accuracy and power to be off, which makes it easier to receive. Aoba Josai has taken momentum and slowly begins pulling away, so Coach Yukai decides to sub in Tadashi to like try and shake up the momentum. This man has been nothing but Tsukishima's bum buddy for the past 20 episodes. I was low-key baffled when he did this. It reminds me of when Rico subbed in Fuhirata to mark Akashi. Turns out he's been working on some sort of special float serve like the one Unk was using in the first practice game, but he hasn't really perfected it. It's 90-17 as Tadashi steps up to take the serve. I really thought he green timed the knuckleball, but it was just short as they instantly sub her out. That's peak, man. It did fire up the rest of the team to go and get their leg back as they continue the rally. They are going band for band until it's 24-22. Match point for Seijo. Asahi scores the next point, making it 24-23. Tanaka is up to serve and keeps it in when Kageyama returns the favor by doing a one-handed set, which allows Hinata to force the juice. Like you guys in the comments would say, that was genuinely toe tickling. I would have been in the crowd making straight noise. They continue the game and it's getting more and more tense by the play, as Hinata manages to get a lucky dink to make it 25-24. Since it's a juice, they need to win by 2 points just like tennis. Aoba Josai pulls it back to make it 25-25 as Oikawa is up to serve again. I was Haikyuu shivering in my timbers, but he hits the ball when Nishinoya just lets it blow by. As the ball goes out, the pinpoint accurate Haitian sniper Oikawa missed a serve. Damn! Their back and forth continues all the way up to 31-31. I wonder what the longest volleyball game ever was. I can see a game going all the way to like 50 at this rate. Oikawa uses that decoy who's done barely anything all game to sneak in a point. They continue to go blow for blow, ball for ball, meat to meat, putting in straight work. The ball falls to Kageyama as Hinata makes his run, and this has been green all game. I thought for sure this was cash, but not this time as they officially shut it down, making Aoba Josai the winners of the game. Damn, bruh. Oikawa simply outplayed Kageyama and outsmarted his underclassmen in the end. I understand the team's frustration, and seeing them all crying whilst eating food is a different kind of hurt. But at the end of the day, this is their first real comp, and to be able to push a top 4 team all the way to 31 to 33 in the second set just shows how far they've come. A loss is only a loss if you give up. We find out that Seijo lost the final against Shiratorizawa, meaning that they are the ones who get to go to nationals. This Ushikawa guy is getting built up like prime Akashi. He better live up to the hype. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I wanted to show some love to this show since it's not like getting talked about nowhere near as much as the other sports anime. So yeah, I also have a second channel where I yap and talk about random topics like cartoons, so check that out too. YouTube thinks you'll like this video on screen next, so check it out. Peace.